I'm gonna play some music in the background.
Oh, cool.
We'll just do a roll-in start. As we try to get everybody in here. We got it.
Go ahead.
So far, Ed Norton's in the house. Gamer Got Wannabes in here. What's going on, everybody? Thanks for stopping by. How's everybody doing? We're just gonna have a roll-in start, man.
What's up, people?
We were gonna go ahead before we just officially start it. Go ahead and tell everybody this fiasco that you had with Amazon Prime.
Yo, I don't want to do that.
He said he don't want to do that.
You put me on blast.
Well, I mean, you don't gotta put them on blast, but just you homie had to buy the game twice.
All right, so I actually have a video coming up, and this is not going to be a bash against Amazon Prime. It's going to be actually a very critical video against them. So it's not a rant video. If that's what Nick's expecting, it's not going to be a rant video.
I ain't expecting a rant video. I'm just trying to let the people know, man. You had to Octopath Traveler twice.
Long story short, I pre-ordered my Octopath Traveler. When I pre-ordered it, it said, no problem, we'll have a guarantee delivered to you on the release date. So I called the day before the release date because I noticed I looked on Thursday. I'm like, hey, what's going on? I don't necessarily see this, shipped yet. It still says it didn't give the notification that it shipped out. And usually that's not a good sign. Usually when that happens, I'm like, they mess up. So I called them. I called them the day before and they said, oh, it just said an update in the system. Your item actually shipped and it'll be there tomorrow. Those were their exact words to me. So when I look on my Amazon Prime on my phone and I see, hold up, this thing is telling me that my thing is going to be late, even though a representative just told me that's going to be here, I had it. So I called him back and I'm like, yo, I'm pretty much done. And the first representative I talked to, he was doing everything and anything. That's one thing I forgot. Dave, I will say this, Dave from Amazon Prime, this dude went up and beyond with customer service. I will say this, he was one of the few people that I could say went up and beyond with customer service, and he actually tried to do everything. He went to his team lead and said, what can I do? What can I do to help? He said, okay, because he said the closest storage shipment, they're 2 hours away from you. So I'm going to see if they can have it delivered to you tonight. If not, you can have your money refunded back to you tonight.
There you go.
So didn't happen. I called him. He said he's going to call me back. He didn't call me back. So I called about 9 o'clock because he said he'll call me back between 8:30 my time. Called 9 o'clock my time. First representative tried to get smart with me and say, it clearly says that 2 to 5 week delivery time. I just dismissed him and said, let me speak to your manager. I'm not doing this again. And I'm not going to sit here and go back and forth. This is why I'm going to talk to them and make a video about this, because there is not a consistency with customer service. Their customer service is so inconsistent. And on top of that, they always want to shift blame. They never want to take full accountability. They always want to blame the vendor. They always want to blame somebody else other than themselves. And this isn't the first time this happened to me. This happened to me 3 times out of the 5 times in the past year and a half that I've been using their service for Amazon Prime. I've used this for Zelda Breath of the Wild. I've used this for Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. I use this for Super Mario Odyssey, Xenoblade Chronicles 2, and Octopath Traveler. Zelda Breath of the Wild and Xenoblade Chronicles 2 were the only 2 games that came on release day. Every other game I had problems with. And to me, that is inexcusable. That each and every time that you only have $5 of store credit to offer me as a convenience for your trouble and for your mess up. So no, I'm not going to accept this from Amazon Prime any longer. I am going to make an informative video to instruct gamers to say they are not the most credible to go and get their day one games. If you want a game day one, they are not the best people to go to. I understand that if you want to spend about $10 less than you normally would, then yeah, fine. Amazon Prime is pretty good. If you're fine with waiting a couple of days after release date, then fine. Then go ahead and get Amazon Prime. I'm not going against them. And other products they have, Amazon Prime is pretty good with their other products. In terms of their video games, for day one purchases, it is not credible. I had 3, literally, their succession rate is 40% in my book right now. They have a 40% succession rate. That is not good. So I'm not going to trust them any longer with my video games. I'm just going to go to the local store and pre-order locally. So
there you go.
There you go. I'm sorry, I just took over and went straight rant mode before. But
it's all
that's
good.
Pretty much the issue what I had. What they did do, what I will include, was they did refund me my money. They did refund me my money before, like, they sent it, because they said they couldn't cancel the shipment, but they did refund me my money beforehand. So that's pretty much the good side of everything.
Right, that's good. That's all good. So I mean, at least you got the game. You got your refund back. You've been playing the game. We already know that this game is just
amazing.
Amazing. We got Soul Eater in the house. What's going on, my dude? Triple 4C.
What's good, Soul Eater?
What's going on? Fire Blast Gaming in here.
I see you, man. And yeah, man, it sucks. Totally sucks.
But so let's go ahead and let's just start it off with that Octopath Traveler, man. I mean, this game, bro, is something else. And I mean, here's one thing that I noticed. I noticed that there was a lot of people that were saying that they weren't interested in this, and I'm not bashing them. This actually makes me happy. There's a lot of people that said that they weren't really looking forward to this game. They weren't into this game, and now I'm seeing a lot more positivity about this game on release than I thought I would. And to me, that bodes well, because as I've been saying on this channel, I've been waiting to see how this game does, and I'm waiting to see the actual numbers. But from what we're seeing on Twitter and stuff, everybody's giving it high acclaim. I'm waiting to see how well this game does, because of that Square Enix Switch division that they talked about. They said it would depend on this game specifically, how well it did. So I'm seeing positive results. I'm seeing people out there say nothing but positive about the game. Soundtrack, gameplay, everything. Beautiful game.
Soundtrack.
It makes me happy to see that this game is doing well, at least publicly. I don't know what the numbers are going to look like, but man, just
what's that, guys?
Whew, man, this game is possibly, to me personally, it is a Game of the Year candidate. Me personally, this is right now a Game of the Year candidate. Just because.
Had to move that pillow, guys.
You good, bro? So for me personally, this is a Game of the Year candidate. The game is amazing. The mechanics, the artwork, the graphics, the soundtrack. My goodness, the soundtrack, bro. Me and you are both music guys, and like that soundtrack will get you immediately. Man, like, how's your experience been with this game so far, bro?
Well, as somebody who is roughly 9-10 hours in already, right? Well, partly because I was on a Greyhound for almost like 5 hours total yesterday, so a good amount of that was playing Octopath Traveler on the go, which I want to actually talk about. That game is actually really good on the go. That is something that I don't necessarily see talking about, but in handheld mode, Octopath Traveler is one of the best games on the Nintendo Switch. Your Player 2 just subscribed.
Yes, yeah. I was getting ready to say that. Your Player 2 just hit that subscribe button. Yo, appreciate you, buddy.
Appreciate that, my dude. But yes, Octopath Traveler is actually one of the best games, in my personal opinion, to play on the go with the Nintendo Switch.
Yes.
Because of the I'm not gonna put this negatively, but because of the limited hardware on the Nintendo Switch in comparison to the other consoles and being lined up with smartphones, I would say that graphically, this is like the most beautiful presentation I've seen in a long time on a handheld, because you have those 2D sprites, but you have a high definition world with voice acting, which if you plug in your headphones, it really makes you feel fully immersed in the game. And on top of that, with the music, as you said, the music is mind-blowing. Your Player 2 just said, dude, I can't get enough of Octopath Traveler so far. Initially was skeptical, but the hype is real.
The hype is real, bro. The hype is so real.
In my opinion, like, this game is going to do well. Like, end of quarter sales, in my opinion, is going to reach about anywhere between 1.5 and 3 million units sold. And I'm forecasting by the end of the year, this game is going to be a sleeper, but by the end of the year, this is going to be one of the holiday sellers, and it's going to be 6 million units sold. That is my end of year goals for this game. Well, my end of year predictions, rather. I'm not working for Square Enix, but my end of year predictions for this game will be 6 million units sold.
Yo, I mean, this game, bro, I really hope that you were correct with that prediction, because this game deserves it. It is just a work of art, and I have to piggyback on what you said, because I started out the demo. I only played the demo. I only ever played it docked, and then whenever I got the game that night of the midnight release, I streamed it. I played it docked as well. I'd never played that game handheld until yesterday.
Right.
And so I played that game handheld, and I picked it up, and I said, oh my goodness, this looks great. I was like, this looks really, really good. I mean, like you said, as far as the presentation for just that part of the hardware for the Switch, man, it looks golden.
8-1.
I almost prefer to play it handheld versus docked. But, you know, in order to stream, we got to play it docked. But I almost prefer to play. This is one of those games that I prefer to play handheld on the Switch, and that's
I could actually understand that. I can actually understand that.
It is. This game is gold, bro. It really is. The hype is real for this, and it tugs on my heartstrings as far as nostalgia goes, because, you know, growing up, Final Fantasy 3, Super Mario RPG, Chrono Trigger, like that was me growing up. That was me going over to my friend's house and playing these games. That was all me growing up as a kid. And so this game just tugs at the heartstrings. Your Player 2, this is the sort of game that as soon as it clicks, even if I'm early in the game, I'm already hoping it gains enough momentum to warrant a sequel. Wow. 100%.
Yes. I have to agree with that.
Yes.
I really have to agree with that. And but
I could see it not. Well, I could see this game not being like not like a direct sequel, but this being like the next line of Final Fantasy games, where it's not exactly an Octopath Traveler, but they'll figure out a way to kind of keep this going in a line of games like in that franchise. I can see them doing that.
But you want me to tell you something? Now, this is me. For a lot of people that don't know, I am big on RPGs. Like, I'm not as big as some of the other prominent YouTubers, but when it comes to naming RPGs and being knowledgeable about certain RPGs, I'm really big on RPGs. So let me tell you guys why this game is so big for Square Enix. Square Enix managed to do something. They fused two of their biggest franchises, and a lot of people don't even know it. The first franchise I'm going to tell you guys they used was Saga Frontier. Mm-hmm. Saga Frontier is a game where you can choose between 7 characters who have 7 different stories that initially started on the PS1. And the other game is Secret of Mana 2, which is Seiken Densetsu 3, which only released in Japan, which was supposed to be the sequel of course, Secret of Mana. But in this game, you have class changes, different character abilities. There were so many different things you can do in both of these games, and they found a way to put both of these games together where you meet up with different characters that you can find, that you can start off in the beginning with. You can meet these characters and fuse your quests together. So I found that really well. They improved upon that so much, and it looks like they're going to keep on doing it. This is really one of Square Enix's best pieces of work.
Efforts I'm not going to say ever, but in a long time. In a long time. It's
one of their best efforts in a long time. And one of the biggest criticisms that I hear from this is, why wasn't this game a multi-plat? Why wasn't this on PlayStation? Why was this on Xbox One? And it's simply because I'm going to call it early. Everyone is saying, why wasn't this on this? Why wasn't it on this? I'm going to say this, and a lot of people will get mad at me for saying this. Removing the hype and removing the gameplay of playing this on the Switch, the idea alone, people would have been turned off from it because of how powerful those systems are. They would have said, why is this weak game $60 on the PS4? In fact, that's still a criticism.
It's still a criticism now. I was going to say, they're still saying that. Pong by Atari says, evening, everybody. Octo is a lot of fun. 9 hours in, enjoying it a lot.
100%, yes, sir. Bro.
I'm 6 hours in. And I think I only have a total of 5, so I got 3 more protagonists to get. And bro, yes, man, that's all I can say about this. But to piggyback on what you said, I have to agree with you that I believe that that's probably the reason why it didn't come to either PlayStation or Xbox or whatever, because I think, like you said, they'd see that and they said, why? And like, I don't think people saw this game, and much like the public did, I bet you these companies said, why? Looking at it and said, why? What is this? We don't want it. just like much of the general public did. And like you said, there's still people out there saying, man, this game is whack. It looks, why am I spending $60 for this game? It looks stupid. It looks like a Super Nintendo game or whatever. Like you're hearing that criticism. I can see that being a reason, but I mean, sorry about you. It looks like this game's doing pretty well. It really does. I'm
not sorry about you.
I'm not either.
You can have that opinion. It's like,
you know,
but you know what this says though? The fact that, and I believe I'm gonna go check it out right now. Last time I checked, it had an 84% score on Metacritic. I think it's still at 84 or maybe 85 by now. Let's see really fast. 84. It's at 84. The user score is 8.4%. So that's like a B rating.
Right.
The fact that a B-rated game, with a B rating, I give it higher than that, but the overall rating is a B, which I feel is fair. The fact that in 2018, a game with these graphics can be rated B says a lot.
Yes.
It says that graphics are not everything, which is what people have been trying to push the agenda with the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. This is why I love this game, because Square Enix took a chance. They said, we want to show that, hey, quality of the game still matters, and the quality is not only in the graphical content, 100%. But the quality is also in the actual gameplay. The quality is in the story. The quality is in so many different things. So that's go ahead, take it over.
Well, that's crazy. I was gonna let me two things because you said something that I want to piggyback on, but I was gonna say this thing first. The people that were out there that were saying that Nintendo fans are fake hyped about games like Octopath Traveler, and saying that why would you be hyped about this?
Who said this?
Man, people out there saying this on Twitter. I'm not gonna mention names, but people out here on Twitter saying Nintendo fans are fake hype about games and fake hype about Octopath Traveler, and saying how could a game like this look? How does a game like this that looks like this? How can you be hyped about this? Pretty much saying, you know, Nintendo's weak and the Switch is weak, yada yada yada. Pretty much. But bro, numbers speak for itself. You just gave the score on Metacritic, so there you go. And so I want to piggyback on that because I was going to talk about this, but I kind of didn't want to. But now you said I want to. The one of the developers for Daemon Machinima what's it called? Machinima.
Oh yeah.
You see what he said?
Bring it up.
Did you see what he said? And he said that what he saw at E3, and he says there's not much difference in what everybody's putting out nowadays. Nothing looks different. Everything's starting to look the same as far as graphics go. And so I wanted to tie that into this. So like you said, Square Enix took a chance on this game with the visuals, and it is a success right now. And so like you said, graphics are great. Yes, we love performance. We love to see how these machines can go.
Exactly.
We love to see how 4K goes. But once again, you can have all that, balance. But the experience has to be a AAA A1 experience in order for the game to be successful. You can have all these visuals all you want, but if the game is not a good experience, then what do you have? Nothing. You just have a cool CGI trailer.
I'm not throwing shade when I say this, but I'm just putting this out there. You still see people sharing videos of how to do things in Zelda Breath of the Wild. Yes, you do. You still see in 2018, over a year later, you still see people finding out new things they could do in Zelda Breath of the Wild. How many people you see sharing videos about Horizon Zero Dawn? And I'm not saying that to throw shade. I'm saying that to make a point. Like Horizon Zero Dawn is a far cry, is far light years ahead of Zelda Breath of the Wild in terms of graphics, you know. But when it comes down to the actual performance of the game, when it comes down to the experience of the game, when it comes down to replayability of the game, Nintendo has showed over and over and over and over again that they care about their consumers. They care about what their consumers really care about in a video game. And that's what I see Square Enix sees. I'm going to even mention another company sees this. Ubisoft sees this. As much as people want to go on Ubisoft has paid attention to Nintendo and Nintendo gamers demographic, and they are going deep. Another game that they took a chance on, it is doing rather well. It is the best third-party game selling on the Switch so far, and I don't know if that changed, but it was for a time the best third-party game for a long time, Mario and Rabbids. Mario and Rabbids was one of the best third-party selling games on the Switch, and it was because Ubisoft took a chance. What's up, Salty's Gaming? Salty is Gaming, my bad.
What's up, Salty, man? The homeboys hopping in here. I appreciate you, my dude. Yeah, man. I mean, dude, this game... I mean, we can talk about it all we want to. But let's go ahead and tie this into the next subject because I really want to get in this. I want you to roast these dudes. So you shared this.
My video. That's my video tomorrow, man. I got you. I'll give a little preview.
Give them a little preview. I'm gonna share this link real quick, people. We're not gonna get into it. There's one reason that really killed me was this.
All right, so.
Go ahead.
Here's my thing, and I'm not gonna really get too much in the meat of my video, but I'm gonna get into the concept of my video, which is why I'm a little furious about this. Business Insider, as you can see, says 7 reasons you should buy a PlayStation 4 instead of the Nintendo Switch. Right? Okay. Here's the thing that I don't like about these videos. Look at the website, Business Insider. You scroll down to the bottom. There's no place to put comments. Why is that? Because they know they are not credible. So when it comes down to it, they know they're going to get called out on a lot of different things. Now, the reason why I'm going to make a video is because they're not the only ones that do this. What's going on, man? Forbes magazine is known for doing this as well. It's like when Forbes and Business Insiders, like these business companies, try to seem a little edgy and make video game content, it never goes over well. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, shut up and stick to your lane. Talk about real business strategies. Talk about how, if you really want to impress gamers, talk about how these companies could increase their business or business ideas that these companies can do. That's really what I would like to see. If you're going to be Business Insider and Forbes magazine, talk about how much money the Nintendo Switch was able to generate in a year's time, or how many units they sold in a time, and they talk about more things like that. Right.
Talk about the companies and their successes
and Business Insider worthy. Where you start talking about, hey, you should get this instead of this, especially when you are misinformed, especially when you give false information. That's when I want to call you out. I mean, let's go to point number 6. I'm just gonna give you guys a quick thing. The PlayStation 4 has built-in ways to listen to music while the Nintendo Switch does not, right? Okay, first of all, that's fine and everything. You have first of all, I don't like the fact that they're gonna put this as it's PlayStation 4's idea. This was originally Xbox's idea, let's get real. Second of all, Spotify is decent. It's not the best thing in the world. We're not gonna sit here and overhype Spotify. Last of all, the part that got me, which is where the last 2 paragraphs, they said, if you have other music outside of Spotify, PlayStation 4 also shoot a hard drive to the actual media files through the USB port. I'm like, when I see that, I'm like, this is Xbox's stuff. Then when I read the last paragraph, it says the PlayStation 4 itself, it is very friendly with music in general. You can hook up wireless headphones via USB or plug up a pair of wired headphones directly to the bottom of the controller to listen. The Nintendo Switch has a headphone jack where you're able to put on the go, but no way to listen privately via headphones if you're playing on the TV, at least for now. I'm sorry. What are those USB ports on the side of on the dock? Right. Like, this is why I'm like, stop. Like, stop getting into gaming articles. Stop doing gaming content if you are not educated. Really do some research, Mr. Dave Smith. You're gonna get called out more tomorrow, but that's all I gotta say on that.
I just like number 4. Games are generally more affordable on the PlayStation 4.
Okay, you know what? Let's go. Let's I'm gonna tear that part apart. Let's tear it apart. No.
That was my favorite. Oh my gosh, man! Look at this. They showed an ad from PlayStation for old games, Battlefield 4, like
thank you. That's the point I was gonna make. They put out the PlayStation. He put the PlayStation hits with 1999 games, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 games
like
are all games 2016 and below that. So the most recent games that I see on here are Uncharted 4 and Doom, which came out in 2016. Every other game came out from 2013 to 2015. And the fact that this dude had the nerve to mention with the exclusives on the PlayStation 4, you're going to mention Shadow of the Colossus? Really, my guy? A game that was remade for the PlayStation 2?
Oh, no. Right, bro. Hey, everybody who's listening right now, get a PlayStation 4. Games are more affordable on the PS4. There you go.
Oh, man. That's why I gotta go in tomorrow. You guys got the pre-edit, the unedited version, but I'm really gonna go in. I'm not gonna even punch in. I'm not gonna have a scripted article. I'm just going straight for them because no.
All right. Speaking of games for the Switch, moving on to the next subject. Like I said, we'd like to try to move this podcast along so y'all don't hear. It's a Sunday, y'all know, so we move these issues. And let's talk about this panic button. Apparently, there was there's some fan questions on Reddit today. Someone asked, after Warframe, are any more projects for Switch? One of the dudes from Panic Button replied, tons. Now, if you guys don't know who Panic Button is, they have ported bigger games to the Nintendo Switch, such as Rocket League, Doom, Wolfenstein. Rumors are they're going to be coming out with Fallout for the Switch coming soon. Who knows? But, bruh, the fact that he said tons, that's a vague answer. But from what we can see, they're getting real busy with these Switch ports, bruh. Real busy with these Switch ports. So, do you have any ideas of what it could be? What would you like to see? Like, how many projects do you think they could have? Like, go ahead and just get on this one.
Well, one of the first projects I see that they could easily do is, believe it or not, Soul Calibur.
Ooh.
Soul Calibur 6. Another game is Kingdom Hearts.
Yes.
Kingdom Hearts and Soul Calibur are easily the top two games that come to mind when they say they have tons of games. So I really want to include these games. Like when you look at Soul Calibur 6, I look at other fighters coming to the Switch. You have Dragon Ball FighterZ. Like you have Dragon Ball FighterZ coming to the Switch. I don't know if Panic Button is even behind that. They may be secretly behind that. We don't even know. But you have a lot of games that are being ported over to the Nintendo Switch. And if you look at their track record, they have Rocket League, which is really good. And the reason why I want to include Rocket League is because they actually took some time to improve the quality of the game after the release, which I felt was really good. You have Rocket League, you have Doom, you have Wolfenstein, you have a lot of games. And now Warframe is a beautiful game at its max settings, and even at its basic settings, which I played on 720p.
Yeah. Even on Xbox, it looks good.
Like I played it on 720p on my computer here. It still looked really good. Yeah. So you have a free to play game, Destiny, which I actually, if you don't mind me going into this, I actually want to touch on to the Destiny developer, Bungie. Now this dude, I actually did a news article about this before, but this dude wanted to basically call out and say he doesn't really feel that this game is going to work well on the Nintendo Switch because the Nintendo Switch always needs to be Destiny needs to be online all the time, and the Nintendo Switch is a handheld, it's a portable. So that's his main reason why Destiny could not come to the Nintendo Switch. Meanwhile, we have Fortnite, we have Paladins, now we're going to get Warframe.
Yep.
3 games that require an internet connection to play, and 3 games that are free to play on top of that. So it doesn't make the Bungie developer look good at all after seeing this.
Yeah, I think most of the time when after seeing what Panic Button has done, I think whenever people are asked, "Hey, is it coming to the Switch? Is it coming to the Switch?" At this point, it becomes laziness and I mean. Did you see RGT 85's rant on Spawn Wave about the WWE 2K?
Oh my gosh, dude. I saw it live. I was like, oh man. I was like, oh man, he's on the money. Because I felt the same exact way he felt. And I wanted to do a video about it, but I just said, you know what? There's some videos, and guys, this is something about me. I'm not gonna just every video that I feel like I want to do, probably, I don't always do it. And that's mainly because I am somebody, if I know that you specialize in something, you could probably do a better job than me. I'm not going to oversaturate the content. I'm not going to oversaturate the content and, keep putting out that video so more people can see more perspectives of it. What I'm going to do, I'm going to let the person who's best for the job take care of that. And I'm going to say, you know what, if I can't do a better job or as good of a job as this person, in my opinion, I'm gonna let this person go ahead and do it.
Right.
That's just me. And I knew RDT85, you know, both of us are big wrestling fans, but he's a bigger wrestling fan than I am.
Yeah.
I think he still watches it. I don't. I stopped watching it probably within the last 2 to 3 years ago. I stopped watching it consistently. So I honestly would prefer for him to do a video about this because he could be way more passionate about it than I can.
Right.
So,
and I mean, he's done it. I know he did a video about it, and I just love that rant. But what he said was, it was just it's just laziness on some of these people that don't want to bring. I get it. It takes time and resources, and it takes money. We get it.
Right.
We get it. But as we've seen with some of these games, the return on these is Nintendo fans do more so show up more so often than not when it comes to these ports. They support these games, and so I feel like games like Destiny, yeah, it's always online, and there might be a little bit of a strain, but I think it's possible. I just feel like whenever somebody says no, it's not coming to the Switch because, you know, like Monster Hunter World, when it didn't come to the Switch, their excuse was decent. Like, we weren't ready for it. We didn't know the Switch was coming out. Okay,
and
we get that.
That was actually a very good reason. I actually support them not putting Monster Hunter World on the Switch.
Yeah, exactly. But I could see that being a possible one coming to Switch. But now they have already said, hey, look, we have content coming for the Switch. Don't worry. Now that we know the Switch is here, so that's one thing. But it's just like these companies who come out and say, hey, the game's not coming to the Switch because, you know, it can't. Panic button is sort of shutting some of these people up with these ports coming up. Now, games like Fallout 76, that's a one I can see not coming to Switch. That game looks huge, so I can see that. But whenever some of these companies that say, "Hey, we just can't do it," I panic button after each game they do makes me want to call BS every time, 100%. Just because of what they're doing. Man, it's good on them for this company. I know they have some stuff they're working on themselves, but I mean, all these games that they could possibly be working on, my mind runs wild. Like, man, and I'm excited to see what they do moving forward with all these ports and games coming to the Switch. So either way, we're gonna move on to the next topic, and I know you covered this on your podcast Friday. I'm gonna put these two together. So apparently there's an upcoming update for the game Kirby Star Allies. I don't know if you played the game or not. My kids play this game all the time.
I didn't touch on that in the podcast, actually. I touched on Mario Kart 8 Deluxe update.
Okay, we're gonna tie these two together. So Kirby is coming out. They're gonna have an update with specifically with Kirby 64 levels specifically arranged for Kirby Star Allies. There's a few characters. Kirby 64, The Crystal Shards, was a game that I only played for like maybe 2 hours in my childhood and never touched it again because I had to take it back to the video store because I rented it. And so I never got to play it ever again. So I'm actually looking forward to this, just to play these levels on Kirby. I bought the game. My kids play this game all the time. I mean, anytime they have the Switch, I hear Kirby Star Allies playing in the background. So I'm sure they're going to be excited. They didn't mention whether it's going to be free or not. I'm going to hope that it is. But they never said if it was gonna be free or not. But
I mean, I wouldn't be against them if they're not, because the everything's not like Splatoon. We've been blessed with Splatoon giving us free content after free content.
And spoiled by Splatoon also.
But when it comes down to other games, the time and development. I mean, look at it this way. I'm just gonna tell people like this: if you have to pay extra money for these updates or for the DLC, I want to give you guys a perspective. Look at it this way: look at it as if someone asks you to come back into work and work overtime and you don't get paid for it. How would you feel?
True.
How would you feel? Because that's really it. It's because the full game is done. These games are done, but the fact that Nintendo, and this is why Nintendo is really one of the best, with their major IPs, they're still adding more content. They're adding more content to Kirby. They're adding more content to Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. So, and they're still adding content to Xenoblade Chronicles 2.
Yes.
So, what is to happen if they add more content to ARMS? What's more to happen if they add more content to Zelda Breath of the Wild?
I know. I'd love for them to have more updates to Breath of the Wild, but they've already closed that door and said, "Hey, we're moving on to the next one," which bums me out. I'd love to keep playing that. I mean, still to this day, I love playing that game. It's
you know what? It's like one thing I'll say. They say that and everything, but Nintendo has shown with the Switch that they can change their mind on different things.
Yep.
you know, cloud storage and everything. It was like they first said you can't do it. Now it's like, yeah, you could do it like this, or you could do it like this. So Nintendo does listen to their fan base. That's one thing I want to say about the Switch and the era of the Switch. Nintendo has shown to be very consumer responsive.
Yes. I'm
not going to say friendly, but they're consumer responsive. They listen to what their consumers want.
Yeah.
And they respond in the way they believe is the best way for their company.
Yes.
Which may not always be what the consumers want, but again, one thing I've learned about Nintendo, they're looking 5-6 years down the line instead of just the next 1 or 2 years down the line. So I've come to learn how they do their marketing, and I've come to say, okay, if they're looking down this aisle, I'm wondering what's going to be the best course of action for them. Speaking business-wise, I want to see how Nintendo fares against the 2019 and 2020 era of video games.
Yes.
Mainly because a lot of the games, and I brought this point up in my podcast because we was talking about all these ports. You know, can these ports that are coming into the Nintendo Switch help them reach their 20 million mark goal? And one of the biggest things was, go back to your room, okay? One of the biggest things that that we saw was Nintendo Switch was really at the back end of a lot of these third-party games that were coming out. Like you just said, Monster Hunter, it was too sudden for them. They didn't have enough time to include it into the development process.
Right.
So I'm looking at this in the long-term theme of things. What if all these newer games that are worked on, Nintendo Switch is part of the day one releases as PS4 and Xbox One? How much of a return is that going to have on the rest, on the other consoles? Because now if people have portability as an option as a day one release, will that sway more people to buy a Switch? Will the Nintendo Switch be the new go-to for third-party gaming if people don't necessarily rely on all the graphics, if people want to play hard grinding games like RPGs on the go? Whew, I said a mouthful.
Yeah, you did. Ed Norton says, have y'all seen or talked about video game YouTubers complaining that there's too many games in the Nintendo eShop? I don't think there's too many games. I just think they need to go ahead and figure out a way to get all that organized, because it is a nightmare.
Well, apparently, according to Business Insider, you know, the PlayStation has over 1,800 games and the Switch has around 1,200. So, I mean, which is actually incorrect. So if we're going to talk about the Nintendo Switch, let's talk about PlayStation. Let's talk about Xbox One.
True.
Like everyone has video games. Nintendo Switch, I look at it like this. And Edward Norton, that's a great point. I'll address it right now. If you are not somebody who cares about a game, don't buy it. Simple as that.
Really?
There's video games that come out weekly for the Nintendo Switch. Do you think I'm complaining that there are too many games for the eShop? That's something that I feel like that's not worth complaining about. That's That's a very selfish thing to complain about, because there are games that other people may care about that I don't care about. You know what? I'm gonna give case in point. Mario Tennis Aces. I don't care too much about that game, but there's a good amount of people who love that game. Am I gonna say Mario Tennis Aces shouldn't be for the Nintendo Switch, or that's one of the too many games for the Switch? No, because there's a demographic that enjoys that.
100% popular platforms will definitely draw some shovelware, but agreed. Give us a better way to sift through these offerings. 100%, because I find myself more so on the Switch than my Xbox or anything else, going through the eShop on Nintendo just to see what indie games are available and clicking on them and looking and see finding what is interesting. But yeah, please organize it. Organize it.
You know what? I could agree with that. I'll take it a step further. Nintendo Switch should redesign their entire user interface.
Yes.
Their user interface, in my opinion, for my personal liking, is a bit dry. I would say I've seen a few renditions of it. I've seen a few people retweet this one image, and I didn't care for it because it looked too much like PlayStation 4, in my opinion. So that's why I didn't really like the design of it. Make it look original. Make it still seem Nintendo. Honestly, this may go against how some people feel, but I prefer the game screen of Nintendo Wii U over the Nintendo Switch. Now, I know some people like the simplicity of the other Switch because you can just get in, get out of your video game. You just go right in, get right out. And that's probably the reason why they have the aesthetic the way they do, is because they don't want too much memory going on where it's lag time switching between video games. The whole idea of the Nintendo Switch is you can switch between games on the go and quick, fast, in a hurry. That's the one thing I do like about the current interface. You can switch between games that you have downloaded like it's no problem at all. So that's one of the things I'll say is good about it. In terms of the eShop, the orange and white colors have been their colors since the DS and the Wii U days, and even the Wii days. So I really can't necessarily see how much they're going to change it around. But knowing them, they'll find a way to redesign it. We have to understand they have to make it so it's optimized both mobile and on the screen as well, which is probably a challenge. So we'll see.
100. So before we get into the real quick My Hero talk,
we've been going in. We've been going.
If we do that, what do you think about these? What do you think about these rumors that we will be getting a direct here pretty soon? As far as because we've heard Reggie kind of hint, hey, we got more announcements coming. Don't worry, because they kind of took a little bit of hits after E3 because all they did was focus on Smash and Pokemon for the most part. But he seemed like he was really wanting to push that message. Hey, we got more down the road. We got more down the road. Don't worry, we have more down the road. And now apparently there's a rumor out that hey, we're going to be getting a direct either this month or next month, sometime down the road. And I mean, for as far as direct rumors have been for this year, they've almost been spot on. So do you think that this is going to be more? Do you think that this direct is going to be a thing? And what do you think they're going to talk about in it?
Honestly, I learned my lesson back in January. And ever since January, I don't put any more stock into direct rumors. Mm-hmm. If they come, they come. Mainly because I've learned then it's like I put too much hype and too much hope into this one direct.
Yep.
And it under-delivered to my expectations. So now moving forward, I have actually very low expectations of what's going to happen. At most, I would see them talking about is Pokemon a little bit more. And we'll get more Pokemon information and maybe a Yoshi announcement as a promise. We'll get an announcement about Yoshi, but that's about it. I don't necessarily see it too much. All this stuff about Mortal Kombat and stuff.
I didn't hear that.
Yeah, I heard about Mortal Kombat being teased at this presentation and a whole bunch of other different things. I'm not gonna go crazy with that.
Right. No. Right. Your Player 2 says online has never been a strong suit for Nintendo, which is weird because they've had like a decade to sort out a more pleasing user experience. That much is true, but that's what I was going to think. I think what could be possible is they're going to have to kind of give us more on this Nintendo Switch Online. I think that's something that they may have to do down the road. We've got a little bit, but they said there's much more to be announced. And they've even said, hey, we're going to announce more. I think that could be a possibility that the announcement down the road is a few games here and there, and here's more details of the Nintendo Switch Online. That's what I think is down the road.
I have a theory, and I actually want to touch on your Player 2's comment on that. My theory is Nintendo has spent 80% to, I would say 60 to 80% of the Wii U's lifespan, working on the Nintendo Switch. They spent about 60 to 80% is a good estimate of the Wii U's lifespan working on the Nintendo Switch, working on the ideas of the Nintendo Switch and making sure that is a success. And all the money they've gotten for that, they put into the development of the Nintendo Switch. And the reason why I feel this way is because we didn't see any really improvements on the online service on the Wii U. Mm-hmm. So because of that, I feel as though they really want to make sure that the Switch sells well. Now that the Switch is making a lot of money, I can really see them improving the online as we go along. Now, because servers, and one thing I need people to understand, servers are not cheap. So Good servers are not cheap. So Nintendo is going to start off small. I'm not expecting stellar service when they first start off, and Nintendo knows their budget. So Nintendo is going to start off on a lower scale than PS4 and Xbox One. And people say they need to be on the same level. I'm like, listen, you need to understand that this is going to be, wait, hold up. Nintendo, before I go into that, Pong said Nintendo should allow more systems to be registered under one account. I purchased a 2DS XL and would have liked to have been able to access my eShop games without a transfer from my 3DS. I mean, the thing about it is Nintendo is departing totally away from the Wii era, and the 3DS is a part of that Wii era. Like, Nintendo is slowly but surely departing away from that. Like, they want to still give you room, but they're departing away from that. Which brings me back to the point I was about to make. Nintendo Switch Online, they're taking a chance with this online service, and they're going to make sure they can really bring the best of the best down the line. And then in the long run, Nintendo says that they're trying to make this a 10-year lifespan system. So if this is going to be a system that has a 10-year lifespan, I could expect updates throughout its entire lifespan. I could expect hardware updates. I could expect internet updates. They're going to make so many big changes down the line, but Nintendo needs their core gamers to support them along the way. It's like, you can't expect them to not have the best experience and then be level 100 by their next system. That's not good at all. What's going on, Frank the Tank?
Yes, sir. Frank the Tank. What's going on? Thanks for stopping by, my dude. So the last Nintendo subject, this is a really vague quote, but I saw that and it interested me. So Doug Bowser, who is the head of Nintendo America, head of sales, was in an interview and asked about the Nintendo Switch demographic. And I find this interesting because people say, oh man, Nintendo's only for kids, the Switch is only for kids. There'll be a lot of people saying that, but for the most part, all I see are people my age talking about Nintendo on YouTube. But that's a different subject. But he said that the audience for the Nintendo Switch this time around has been a broad audience. He said it's all over the place as far as demographics, so they don't know what to hit. They have multiple games as far as, you know, the Kirby's and the Mario Karts and the Odysseys and the Zeldas, and that's why they are working to get all these kinds of games for wherever they can get them, because they now have a broad demographic. So that's why you're seeing more of these Fortnite games, and you're seeing more of Wolfensteins, and you're seeing more of these more mature games. Because it used to be like Nintendo would only have their exclusives, and that was it for the most part. And you see them now branching out. And he was stating that because their demographic is so broad and so wide, they have to go out and get these games from other places. I just found that very interesting and very good news, because, you know, everybody, you know, thought the Switch was not going to be successful and nobody's going to buy it, and oh, the Switch is only for kids. But we see here that's not the case at all. They are having to branch out and get titles for wherever they can get them for different demographics. I just thought that was interesting. What do you think about that one?
I'm actually on Nintendo's YouTube right now, and I'm actually gonna put this link in the description for you guys, because I've actually wanted to put this as a reference for you guys to watch. So you mute that audio as you're watching this video so you can hear us still. I want you guys to look at this video. Every part of this first look at the Nintendo Switch reveal, you don't see any children. You don't see any children. You see grown adults. Let's address that first. So everyone's saying that the Nintendo Switch is only for kids. Where, my guy? Like, where? There were so many. There were not every situation where it's realistic, but there were a lot of realistic situations, like going out to walk your dog and still bring your Switch with you if you wanted to let your dog play out in the yard. That's a realistic situation for many people. Taking your Switch on an airport, or in my case, on a Greyhound, which I did on the airport before too. This is a realistic thing that will happen with the Nintendo Switch. They have so many different realistic scenarios, and that's why this thing sold. This thing has over 37 million views on YouTube. You got to think about that. So this is not only kids. If it's only, you really think 618,000 people liking this were just 13-year-olds happy about a new Nintendo system? No. This was a lot of older people who value their time. The Nintendo Switch is for people who value their time. Courtney Fulton said, "Adult are kids at heart."
100%.
100%. But here's the thing: it's like what I need people to understand. And your player 2, I'm going to take that a little bit further. But your player 2 said, "Totally, Switch is marketed as the millennials machine." And Pony said 41 years of gaming here, got a late start. Didn't pick up my first system until I was 16. And that's what's up. But I want you guys to look at this from my perspective. The Nintendo Switch is perfect for those people who value and love their time. If you value your time as a human being, the Nintendo Switch is the perfect console for you. And that's a resource that we can't get back. We can't get time back. So a lot of people, if you are 25 and up, you cannot sit behind a TV all day and play video games like you were as a kid.
Yep, 100%.
You don't have the time
100%.
And just get those. As a matter of fact, I'll make it even realer for you since we're getting free to play games on the Switch now. You don't have those 13 to 14 hours a day of grinding on MMORPGs on your computer anymore. You don't have that time of day anymore.
No, we gotta go
you
to
have
work.
a job, you have probably kids to take care of, you have a lot of things that you have to do. So the Nintendo Switch, to be able to play something on the go or pick it up and play it whenever I have time, is actually a great marketing ploy. It's a great product for people who value their time. That's my opinion.
Right, 100%. Go ahead.
I think that Nintendo should do, if anything, now Business Insider, you can take notes on this. Now, if anything, Nintendo, if you are watching this video, somehow, some way, if a Nintendo representative is watching this, this will be a great marketing strategy to market in the Nintendo Switch. Market it towards people who value their time. Market it towards people who say, man, I really wish I had this I have to do. Show somebody walking outside their job and playing this in their car or something, or playing this at in the work lunchroom, and other co-workers are watching over them and watching them play the video game. Like, these are realistic things that I would say could get more people interested in the Nintendo Switch.
100%, 100%.
Go ahead.
Well, what I was gonna add was, give me a second. I'm trying to edit something here real quick. I done forgot. I lost my train of thought. I was gonna say something about playing the game on the go and whatnot, and how no. People like our society is ever moving right now. I mean, we at this point, we now have everything at our fingertips in our phones. 100%. So for us to really, like, how often do you, besides streaming and you're sitting down and you're doing your YouTube videos, how often do you just sit down and play video games, at your house?
Not often.
Not often.
Honestly, that's why I have a backlog of video games I need to finish.
Exactly.
Because I don't have the time.
Exactly. Now imagine you being able to take that backlog of games on the go with you.
You could get more hours in, even if it's 1 or 2 hours a day.
100%.
You still have that 1 or 2 hours a day. Let's put another situation. Let's just say if you're somebody, because I had to do this for a long time. Let's say you're somebody who has to carpool to work, right?
Me. Like me.
Let's say, see, there you go. So it's going to hit home for you. Whether you're carpooling, whether your work is a half hour away, whether your work is an hour away, that is still an hour to 2 hours total you're getting in gaming every single
100%.
day. If you want to play your game every single day.
100%. I would play my Switch, but my wife doesn't allow me to take the Switch with me because she likes to play the Switch, so I have to watch anime. I have to catch up on anime on the way to work. But either way, I mean,
so you know what that means, right?
I'll take it.
So guys, I want you guys to start. Where's the Streamlabs? Where's the Streamlabs? So go ahead and either become a patron, or go ahead and support my brother here, Nicktendo Direct on Streamlabs. It's not gonna work. I need to get rid of that. Well, the link's in the description for Streamlabs. Support him on Streamlabs. Make sure he can get a Nintendo Switch on the go so he can clear that backlog of games. I'm playing, you guys.
No, but yeah, like I don't. It's funny because I tried to like I got to take my Switch to work twice with me. Twice. When we first bought it, I played Mario Odyssey all day one time because luckily I got to just sit down and play it. See? And then before my vacation, everybody at my work, and this is another thing, and this is what I want to mention. There are tons of people at my job, and I work in production at a production factory. I don't work at an office, but there's tons of dudes at my job that have a Nintendo Switch. And you know what we all did? There was 10 of us at a table playing Mario Kart Deluxe during lunch.
Whoa, that had to been fun.
10 of us at a table playing locally.
That had to been fun.
That's stuff that can only happen with the possibilities of the Switch. And it was fun. It was awesome. It was great. But like you said, people now have that at their hands. They can take it with them to work. They can do this and that with them. They don't have to sit. And I mean, I'm glad that we have these power machines. I'm glad we have these powerful PCs. But for me, the first time I picked up a Switch and I literally was playing Mario Odyssey. And I picked it up and I picked up the Switch out of the dock, out of my TV, and walked upstairs and went to bed. I was like, man, this is the best thing I have ever experienced. And I took it to work and played it some more. And these aren't just your piddly mobile games. These are exclusive console games for the system. And you now get to take it on the go. That matters to me, and that matters to a lot of people. That does. And that now is reaching a demographic of more people than Nintendo probably imagined, and more people than the video game industry imagined. That they're now having this huge demographic, whether from younger to older adults. And I think it's going to continue to be successful. I cannot wait to see what they do for further iterations. I wonder if they're going to keep it. I wonder if they're going to just keep the Switch 2 or the Switch 2.0, whatever they want to call the next.
I don't see them going back from this. I don't see them going back from this at all.
Right.
I think this is the future of gaming. In fact, I see PlayStation and Xbox trying to follow up with them, trying to do the same thing.
Yeah, we've seen that rumor that PlayStation did patent an idea, and they went ahead and said no, we didn't. But I mean, it's out there. I see them trying to do it. But either way, that's the last topic for the night. And I don't think we're gonna get into My Hero. We're an hour in, so we're a little over.
Oh, we can't do my Hero.
Okay, we can do My Hero real quick. So if you watch the anime My Hero Academia and you have not seen the newest episode, spoilers ahead, real quick.
Spoilers.
So
Go Beyond!
Ooh, Go Beyond Plus Ultra, your player 2 donated $5. My man, the man, the myth, thank you so much for that.
Thanks, man.
Your player 2, thank you so much for that. You went beyond Plus Ultra, so now we're talking about My Hero. That's funny. So anyway, so where we left off of My Hero, I mean, a few episodes ago was the fact that now All Might's retired, and now all the kids are now in the dorm system, and now they're trying to train to get to do their, what do they call that, the hero test or whatever. That way they can pass and become certified to be a hero. And so now we were seeing them try to learn their ultimate moves, trying to figure out, to get through their test. And we saw the homie Midoriya in a new outfit, by the way, which I thought was fire.
I'm just sitting there like, bruh, this dude looking like he about to do some damage.
Bruh, that looked fire. The way he did the arms, and he had the arm grips, and then the way he had on his legs. And one thing I really did like is they brought back Katsume, because she was in the the games or whatever they were doing.
Yeah.
She made it to the fight, and she was just showcasing all of her gadgets, and she just seemed like this crazy girl. But then she's in here making all these gadgets, and all of a sudden the dude was like,
she's be an asset.
Yeah, she's about to be a huge asset to these students, because even I can't remember that hero's name that was making all this stuff, but he was like, bruh, get to know this girl, because she's about to be a huge asset. Look at all this stuff she's made, and this is within the year. We're not even through with the year, and she's made all these gadgets. He's like, she's gonna be an asset. Keep your eye on her. Hatsume is about to be that next level, bruh.
I can see that. I can actually see that.
Like, she's gonna be a big part coming through. I think she's gonna be like their Lucius Fox for them.
That's actually a good comparison.
Yes, she's about to be the Lucius Fox.
One thing I will say that impressed me the most is the fact that Midoriya finally grappled something. And it's like, I like the fact that the writers address things early. We were starting to feel like, Midoriya fights too much like All Might.
Right.
And out of nowhere, they correct that issue. Like, literally less than 60 episodes in, they correct a major thing. Less than 50 episodes in, they take out who could have been the main villain of the entire anime.
That's true. That's true.
So it's like, where do we go from here? And it's like,
well, it's about to get a whole lot bigger, and it's about like you said, All For One could have been the main villain, but he's not. Now it's now it looks like it's gonna be Shigaraki in the whole
definitely.
League of Villains. Now we're about to see what the students are gonna do. They're setting this up to be just this epic, and it just keeps getting better, and they keep introducing more and more and more. And like you said, I'm glad they addressed it, and I'm glad that All Might even told him, "You're starting to be like me. Don't be like me. Your weakness right now is that you're trying to be too much like me. Don't be like me." And like you said, they addressed that immediately. And that was my concern. I didn't want him to be like All Might. I didn't want Midoriya to be like All Might. I wanted All Might to be All Might.
Now that he's using his feet, now I'm finally, for the first time, fully excited about Midoriya's development.
100%.
I was looking at him like, is he gonna be like All Might? He's gonna become like super muscular and act like All Might. And that's when I saw that, I was like, I'm not really feeling this if he's gonna be like super. But now that I see that he has this electricity flowing through his body whenever he attacks, I'm like, yo, I'm excited.
100.
Is he gonna make up his own kick moves now? Like, that's what I'm looking forward to.
Apparently he's gonna be. Apparently in the manga I saw a little strip. He's gonna have his St. Louis smash.
Oh boy!
And that makes me excited because, you know, being from the St. Louis area. So now I'm like, yes, St. Louis. He's representing St. Louis. Frank the Tank says, I think All For One is going to come back. I think that's possible later. I think they might try to break him out later, but I think it's gonna be way later. I don't think it'll be anytime soon.
But even if they break him out, honestly, All For One is not at his full strength. In that fight with All Might, he was definitely weakened. Like, in which I feel that's gonna be the first movie. The first movie is gonna be the origins of the first fight between them, and it's gonna go deep into the story what happened to All Might's master and the whole battle about what's going on in the series. But one of the things I do want to touch on is the fact that I think you said this before, and I have to agree with you. I believe that Bakugo is going to become the #1 hero first.
Yeah, it wasn't me. That was in that one. It was the last podcast you were in with Lieutenant Surge and Blade Knuckles. I think Lieutenant Surge said it first. Yeah, he said that Bakugo, because of how he is, he's going to be the #1 hero first, and I agree with that. I'm very interested in watching his development because he seems to have all the tricks in the bag right now. He seems to have all of it going right now.
Not only that, it's like he's a fighting genius.
100%.
There's a very few people. It's like people don't like comparing him to Vegeta. I've seen some people. There are people who straight up hate Bakugo because he could be a douchebag to Midoriya and a whole bunch of other people.
I mean, I did it for a while, but now I actually like him. I respect him now after the whole League of Villains situation.
Like I respected him hands. I mean, you see when I respected him. I respected him when after I'm gonna tell you the first point I gave him real respect. After when Midoriya body slammed him, and then the second time around, Midoriya tried to body slam him again, he reversed it. I was like, oh, sway.
Yes.
This dude really knows how to fight. And then when not just Midoriya, but when he was fighting with Midoriya to fight All Might, he had to clear his head. Like, not once did that entire fight did he turn back. Not once did ever he say, I need to escape. In fact, he even showed to the point, to the person I hate the most, listen, if this was a real situation, I'll give up my life so you can live. That speaks volumes.
True.
I think a lot of people misunderstood that. If this is a real situation, I can easily see that Bakugo would not have left Midoriya to die. In fact, he would have left himself. He would have called him a stupid nerd to run away.
Right, right.
But he would have gave his life to make sure Midoriya lives. And that's something that I have to really credit
respect him for it. You gotta respect him for it.
I had to give him a lot of respect for that. So I've been a Bakugo fan before this League of Villains situation.
Right.
League of Villains situation just made it like, yo.
Right. I jumped on the Bakugo after the League of Villains because he was annoying to me. He really was annoying to me. He was being a deck. He was annoying to me, and my buddy was like, "Bro, he's Vegeta." He's like, "Just look at Vegeta. He's gonna come around eventually, but he's Vegeta right now." I was like, "I don't like that comparison, bro." But
now you see it.
Now I'm starting to see it. And so he was right on Texas Girl. Don't play. What's going on? She says, "Nothing much. It's been so long." I know it's been a long time.
How you been?
It's been a long time. It's been a long time,
girl.
And
but
so
I actually want to touch on one more thing about Bakugo that I've noticed in the last episode that I was actually rather impressed. He is maximizing damage output with less energy.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yo, he figured out how to do that already? And it's like,
and that trick that he did where he was shooting the blast out of his hand.
Exactly.
Like he was just figuring out how to do that stuff and just killing it and having all these moves. My question is of the heroes right now, who are you most interested in seeing the development of? Like we've already went over Bakugo. He's going to be a monster.
I got
Midoriya. Mine.
It's probably the same as mine. It's probably the same as mine.
Tokiyami.
Tokiyami, actually.
Dark Shadow.
Okay, it's not the same as mine.
Okay, who's yours?
Todoroki, bruh.
I knew you were gonna say Todoroki. Todoroki is my second favorite because I want to see how he comes along, because I think it's gonna be the main three out of the main heroes right now. It's gonna be Todoroki, Bakugo, and Midoriya, and then I can see Dark Shadow sort of being like the best genist, or who is that tree branch guy that like helps get people out of situations. I can see him being that guy. But I'm really interested to see how Tokiyami's been my favorite since I saw him. He's just mysterious. They don't really go cover him too much. And so I want to see how his development goes, and will he actually be able to control Dark Shadow to its full extent. Like, he's my favorite character in My Hero just because of that. It's just, he's just there, and they kind of dabble with him, and then they leave him alone for a little bit, and they kind of bring him back, and they leave him alone for a little bit. I want to see him not at the forefront, be more involved in the future.
You know what I see happening, honestly? What I see happening with Todoroki, I see Todoroki mastering the control of his fire and ice, because his fire and ice is always popping out wildly. Every time he uses, always a wildfire. What if he minimizes how much comes out to the point where one side is all blue, one side is all red, red.
Ooh, I do like that. I do like that.
To the point where you can see like little like mist of ice coming from you see like the brisk of air ice coming from his body, and you can see the smoke coming from the right hand. And basically, he could combo in more. He could have more control over it in one go. So if he wanted to go full out fire, he could control it. But with having it at his minimal level,
right,
he could do way more damage output. He could be way more effective at the same time.
Right. I think that's what the whole training for them is about, though, because like he mentioned, you got to get control of your powers.
Exactly.
Like, you guys are. I think that was the whole point of their training at the training camp before that got ruined. But now they seem like they're more focusing on that now that, hey, training camp may have got ruined, but y'all still got to do this. And so they went ahead and reiterated, you need to learn how to control your stuff. And like you can see Bakugo's having such an easy time with that. I'm waiting to see how everybody else fares.
Bakugo, because that's the thing, Bakugo cares about, Izama said it best, he's pushing himself more than every other classmate to be the #1 spot.
Right.
Like, out of everybody there, I'm a point something else. I said this to somebody else. Bakugo, because I told this to a friend, I don't know if he's watching that. We both agreed on it to this point. Like, we both agreed that, Midoriya, in terms of strength, is stronger than Bakugo. But because Midoriya needs to learn how to control his strength, I don't see him doing huge attacks like he did against Muscular anytime soon. Without hurting his body.
No, it's gonna be a while before he can do that.
And at his max form, Midoriya is gonna outclass Bakugo. But like, Bakugo is gonna be the new Endeavor, basically.
Bakugo's a tactician, bro.
That's what I was gonna get at. Like, in terms of his fighting sense, Bakugo is on the next tier. Like, look how in the League of Villains, like, he was already plotting how, if I take out this, I need to figure out how to take out this.
Right.
Here. Like, he's quick to think on his feet. At the same time, he has a poker face. At the same time, he's going to show I'm no punk.
right. I'm not going out like that, and that's why I respect him now. He doesn't annoy me as much, and at this point, you can see how he handles his interactions with Midoriya. Like, he now starts to take Midoriya a little more seriously. He's still a jerk a little bit, but he's not over the top like he used to be. There's a little bit more respect there, and there's also a little bit more respect for his classmates in general, because he was just kind of an a-hole to them all.
Especially the one that saved him.
Yeah, Dinky, Kaminari, that's his name. Kaminari, that you see that friendship sort of bloom, and he's starting to trust him, and that's why Midoriya had to plan it. If you tell him, he trusts you. If you tell him, we'll get him out, and then he got out. I think you're starting to see him have a little bit more respect and starting to deal with people in his classmates a little bit more, knowing that, hey, I want to be number one, but I'm still going to need these dudes later down the road. And so that's why I'm starting to like Bakugo a little bit more so than I did. So like for me, I know Bakugo's going to be good. I'm ready to see what Tokiyami does, and also Todoroki. Those are two. And then of the girls, maybe Uraraka. She's kind of interesting, but maybe Yayurozu, because she's gonna be, I feel like she's gonna be a big one too. But definitely Uraraka with her zero gravity. I think she's gonna be big with that one.
100%. All right.
There you go. That will end the My Hero Academia talk. That ends the podcast.
That was fun.
Homie Abaddon.
Thanks for inviting me, man.
100%, bro. Abaddon coming in with the clutch. My dude, my homie. Let the people know what you're working on, what you're doing, where they can find you, links, all that good stuff. Let the people know.
All right, you people, let me go ahead and get my channel, my channel. I would love for at least one person to subscribe, because it says 666 subscribers. I was gonna say that.
I'm glad you said it for me. I posted your stuff in there too. Yeah, so somebody subscribe to the homie. That way he's not at 666 subscribers. That's nerve wracking.
But other than that, I want to go ahead and say my name is Abaddon Smith. For the channel is AVIDAN SMITH, YouTube.com. You could find that I will do, so far people could categorize me as Nintendo gaming content, but right now Nintendo's really the only thing that's really jumping and has my interest right now. I talk about video games in general. I come back, in fact, I started playing Sega Genesis, but long story short, you can find OST reviews on my channel where I basically touch on some of your favorite soundtracks in video games and do a thorough review on them. I also do gaming reviews as well. I do video game opinions. And the last but not least, I do reactions. So if you want to see gaming reactions, and soon to come, I will be doing full anime reactions.
There you go.
Make sure you stay tuned and subscribe to that.
My boy does some really good OST reviews. I'm dead serious. He goes in depth. He actually researches the composers and everybody of these OSTs, goes all in, and that's why it takes so long. But he actually puts in his work. He researches it. He gives you reasons. He gives you tracks, all that good stuff. Check out his OST reviews for sure. Top notch. Check out his reactions. Top notch. All that good stuff, man.
If you want to, I knew I was forgetting something. Past Friday, I had my most successful podcast ever so far.
Yep.
I do a weekly podcast, 10:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time every Friday. And last podcast was my most successful one. We've had so many viewers and a lot of people who came by to support. So make sure you come on by and join us again for that this upcoming Friday. It is a fun time. We talk about all the gaming news that happened throughout the entire week. So that is my gaming news section as well. So make sure you are subscribed for all of that.
And hit that bell icon so you know when he gets the stuff up. That way, that also helps. So hit that bell icon as well after you subscribe. So you already know who I am. You're at the channel, Nicktendo Direct. So I'm doing more anime reviews, quick little things. You can check out those channels, indie reviews as well, and this podcast. That's the content I'm doing on the channel so far. I'm having a lot of fun with these anime reviews. I got My Hero coming up, Black Clover coming up, and thanks to the homie Abaddon, now I'm going to be doing a quick one over Kuroko's basketball. Because, I'm going to be doing a quick one over Kuroko's basketball, because that now I'm all in on that one. So that one's coming up. So I got a bunch of anime reviews and the anime videos coming up as well as the podcast and the indie reviews. It's going to be busy this week for sure for me. So keep your eyes out on that. You guys are the greatest.
We definitely gotta talk about that off stream.
Oh yes. So thank you everybody for stopping by. You guys are the best, the greatest. Appreciate every single one of you guys. We will see you next week.
Peace.